What's going on? How are you?
Hey, how are you? I'm good.
I'm doing well, man. So we're here. We're gonna, just talk about the new album and what you guys got going on, and maybe a little background of how it all began. And
Cool.
This is gonna be for No Cover Magazine.
All right.
All right. First question. First, I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. And when I say I'm a fan, I've been how I ran across you guys is Sirius XM, Alt Nation.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
We saw you guys come on with Big Data and then Cops, and then you guys eventually,
Nice.
broke out and did your own thing. I guess my number one question with that is, did that just happen by chance? That you guys in Big Data, you guys in Cops, and then Regan was like, "Yeah, these guys are the shit."
I mean, I guess it's kind of by chance. Big Data was like a project that Alan, who is now Big Data, and I started together. So we were like a duo for like a year or two, and we just kind of like he lives in Brooklyn, I live in Rochester, which is like 6 hours upstate. But I would on certain weekends like go to New York, and we would kind of hang out and work on songs. And it was really like a side thing from Joywave that I didn't spend a ton of time on. And we finished Dangerous one day, and Alan was like, "Dude, I think this is like a big song," and I was kind of like, "Really? Like it's cool. Like I hope people like it." He kind of knew. He was just like, "Yeah, this is going to be massive," and then it was. And then Joywave and Big Data both got signed like within a few weeks of each other, and I couldn't really do both full time. So Alan just kind of became Big Data by himself, and then the song became retroactively featuring Joywave. And then I went and did the Joywave thing. And Cops are friends of ours from high school. We all grew up together in like the same suburb of Rochester, and have all known each other for a very, very long time. And two of the people in Cops actually used to be in Joywave a long time ago. So that's how we know them. But yeah, I mean, I guess it's just like working with your friends, and music is something that I basically failed at for 15 years before anyone cared about anything I did. So I don't know. I guess it's just like people like Jeff Regan like notice one thing, and then they kind of notice everything around it, and it's awesome. And I'm really grateful that people have taken note, and it's really helped us.
That song, Dangerous. Anytime I hear it, I get, it's one. I know you've experienced it because obviously you love music. You wouldn't be doing it for 15 years, but it automatically takes me back to it's 3 years ago that summer, and all the happy times I've had with, and so it's to me that song's timeless now, because of what it meant in that time. But that's an awesome story, a lot of adversity, and then all of a sudden so much success at one time.
Yeah, it was our manager always has told me this. It's like overnight success takes decades or something to that effect. To a lot of people, they just figure that you're lucky and something went right. And I mean, it is like a certain amount of luck, right? Because you need the right person to hear it and become an advocate for other people to hear it. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of years of working a terrible retail job for minimum wage, trying to make ends meet while trying to also make music happen.
Why didn't, I'm not saying you should have, but what made you keep on going? Why didn't you quit? And did anything in you change? The eye of the tiger, so to speak. Did one January 1st you say, I'm not going to give a fuck no more? Or what was the chain of events that led to, you just reaching out to all these different musicians and building your own community?
Well, I had been in various local bands in and around Rochester for a lot of years before. Like Joywave started in its like current incarnation in like 2010, but like Paul, the drummer, and I have been playing together since like 2002. And for many years we failed constantly, and so many people had advice for us, like you know, oh, you should sound more like this, or you guys should do this, or you know, down to things like, Paul, you should angle your toms in this certain way. It would look better on stage. And for a long time, we like took that advice, and I realized that we were failing miserably. So at a certain point, like probably January 1st, 2010, I said, well, it looks like I've failed. I'm probably going to continue to fail. So I should just do what I want to do, because that way at least I'm going to be happy and enjoy it. And if other people enjoy it along the way with me, great. And that's kind of what happened. Like things got really real, and I made sure that everything was really real and a true representation of me. And other people kind of realized that over a long time period between like 2010 and I guess like 2015 or so. Yeah, so I mean, it is like not caring and saying, you know, I'm going to do what I want to do. And there's also an element to your point about not quitting. Like, it's really ridiculous that I didn't quit. Like, I made $7,000 or less every single year of my life until like 2014, I think. And I thought about what was important to me in life, and it was really just, you know, that I was doing what I wanted to do, and I really didn't care about anything else, and I still don't. You know, so not having my own place as like a 29-year-old is like a sacrifice that I made. Like, I moved out of my parents' house like 1 year ago at age 31, because that was the first time that I could like really afford to do it.
Were your parents
but you just like part with, yes, to an extent. Like,
busting your balls?
Yeah, like they didn't make me pay. They never made me pay rent. They also never like gave me money to like help out music or anything. And I'm glad they didn't, because it made me appreciate it more and like work harder and be like, you know, if this is the life that I'm choosing, then I really have to be okay with not having a car and not having money to go out to eat or hang out with my friends or whatever, you know. I mean, again, like they're, you know, living with your parents saves you a ton of money too, and they were cool about that, and didn't kick me out and be like, you need to figure out your life. But yeah.
Was it hard dating?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I basically didn't talk to any girls for like a 5-year period in there, because I was like, no girl is going to want to date me. I'm in my late 20s and living at home. I don't have money to go out, and every girl is going to think I'm insane. Yeah, it was pretty tough.
Did you know, like, somewhere... When I first started what I'm doing, I knew. Like, there's no one that was going to tell me no. I knew I was going to be successful. I knew that all I needed was the opportunity. Like, I knew it. And, you know, fast forward, 10 years later, like, we did it. We overcame all obstacles, and we are bringing underground music to the forefront. And we also do a lot. We do the magazine, and we put artists who are established, and then we put artists who are underground in there to get people to read it. So, did you know? Was it in your heart? Did you knew, like, I'm gonna die type feeling?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I did know. I definitely did. Like, but now when I think back at it, I'm like, wow, I was delusional. Like, why would I think that from Rochester, New York, like, I could do this thing, or that I would be, like, good enough, or that people would like it? But, yeah, the entire time, like, I irrationally thought, like, well, it's only a matter of time, and it'll definitely work out. And it's funny because, like, I'm not an optimistic person at all about anything. So along the way, when something would start to go right, or, like, you know, we get a call from, like, this record label or this manager or something, or this booking agent, I'd be like, well, it's probably going to fall apart, and it always would. And I was like, well, figures, because nothing ever goes right for me. But at the same time, I was like, but in the long run, you know, I'm going to do this and make this happen. And now I think that we've done maybe more than I thought we would. Like I never thought that our band would get like played on the radio or anything like that. So there are things that are surprising, but I always thought that we would be capable of having like 1,000 people who like really cared about our band and like supported us in everything that we did. And I thought that we would be able to always have like some type of career.
Everybody, in our music scene, I'm from California, Ventura, California. And in our music scene, I can see a lot. People don't talk about it, but you can see in their faces and in their reactions that, I'm just going to get discovered. Someone's going to share my video, and then all of a sudden I'm going to get discovered, and I'm going to do art for a living. Is that how it goes, or is it more I'm working my butt off? I'm making connections. I'm talking to people on a constant basis. I was curious on your end how that went.
It's entirely work. I'm an insane workaholic. I'm like obsessed with, making sure every detail is taken care of. Like, there's very few things still that I'm like hands off about. Like, our manager double checks everything with me, and I'm on the phone with him constantly going over the details of things. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely work based. Like, there are so many other people that are more talented than I am. But there are people who like, I guess like didn't want to work as hard or put in the time, or like, there's all these obstacles. It's like there's so many sacrifices. But you said, about like dating, like that was something that I had to be okay with. Like, I had to be like, okay, well, I'm not going to be hanging out with any girls at all, because like that's a bad use of my time right now, because my life isn't where I want it to be. I'm going to have to live at home with my parents, which sucks, but that's another sacrifice you have to make. It's being willing to make every single sacrifice to give yourself the highest probability of success, I guess. It's not just like throwing a Hail Mary like into the dark and being like, oh, well, I recorded this song and I uploaded it to Spotify, now I'm done. Like, that's I've heard stories where it happens for people that way. It blows my mind when that does happen. I'm like,
and it really drives me crazy, because I work with musicians every day, and for a musician that I would be I'm friending with, his music is so great. His work ethic is superb, and this punk puts his song up on YouTube, and all of a sudden he's a millionaire. And it just, it's hard for me to believe, and that's the exception to the rule, if any.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it feels like not fair too. It's really discouraging. I watched so many people over the years. I'd be like, the thing that I always told myself when those things happened was, it happened really fast for that person. They're going to be gone 6 months from now. And I was basically right every single time, and that person's career was over because something had happened really quickly. They, it was some random thing that they did that wasn't like real or whatever, and it was gone. And in that moment, I was always like, well, I'm still, climbing the hill, and I would rather be climbing the hill than on the other side of it and just, be screwed or like used up. Like, everyone already got what they wanted from me at the end. Like, I never want to feel like that, and the slow climb is, it can definitely be a daunting task, but like the whole way up, like, you feel good, you're building towards something.
When you first get your check, a real check, and not no $7,000 for 365 days, like, does your heart like literally melt? Like, and like, how emotional is that moment? Because it's different. Like, when your story is you gave up everything. You gave up, your human urges to not procreate, to not start a family, to pursue your dream. Like, at all, do you cry?
Sorry, say that last part again. Sorry.
Do you cry when that happens?
It's pretty. I don't know. Like I try really hard not to think about like money is the result of, it's something that shows up when you're like doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Like it can't ever be the goal. Like if that's the goal, like what you're creating becomes impure. So to me, it's just like verification of like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. Like people are finding value in what I'm making. So I don't know, if it's a weird thing. Like I kind of like, if I get a big check or something, I deposit it and I say I may never get paid again. And you know, when I'm back to making $7,000 a year, I want to still be able to make art. You know, I don't want to have to go back to getting a job at Staples where I used to work. It's like I think of every dollar earned as time that I don't have to get a job. Like the whole time is money thing, like money is time. Like it works the other way also.
Yeah, I feel you. Do you also feel like any minute it's going to go away?
I mean, it could, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm like in the moment right now. I'm trying to take that in. I hope it doesn't, but like it could, and if it does, like I need to be okay with that too, and I need to keep doing what I'm doing, which is the same thing I've always been doing, like just trying to make like the best representation of me. And you know, music is like the paintbrush. That's the thing that I use to express. So that won't change.
Okay. What is the biggest lesson that you've learned from the previous album? Not this new album, the previous.
The previous album. Well, the first one really came from a different. We're going down? Okay, cool. Sorry, I'm like at this, on top of this building in Rochester. There's like this flying saucer building up here, and we're playing on the release day up inside of like the glass building. It's kind of cool. So the first record like really came from a different place, because it was like I graduated from college in 2007, and you know, like people of our versions.
I think I'm losing you.
Those are the things that. Oh,
I'm losing you.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I hear.
Are you still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, can I do that? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Sorry, dude. 1 sec.
It's all right.
You can bring it here. There's a conference table.
Okay.
And a room, whatever.
Okay.
And then you got hands up right on some floor.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it. Okay. Thank you, Chris. Cool. Sorry, multitasking today.
That's all right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, cool. All right, so the first record really came from this place of, you know, growing up, it was like you're supposed to like pick a career, you go to college, you get the job in that career, you start a family, you buy a house, et cetera, et cetera. I graduated from college in 2007, and you know, the economy collapsed in 2008, and that became impossible. So in that moment, like I realized like my life is going to be very different than I thought it might be when I was like 10 years old or something, you know, like it altered everyone's life plan. So the first record was really grappling with that, and you know, expectations versus reality. So the second record is coming from a very different place. Like the things that that the first record is lamenting are like no longer problems. You know, it's like I can't really complain about like, oh wow, I live at home and make $7,000. My life is terrible. Like that's no longer true. So I guess like the lesson learned between the two is just like that you need to find different inspiration in life, like as you go through it. You know, you can't just be like, I'm sad all the time, or whatever it is. You know, like you need to let your art grow with you, and as your position in life changes.
Also, this is I have two questions left. The first one, I'll get to the fun one right now. You're from Rochester?
Yes.
Okay. My pops is from North Collins. My dad. Are you
Okay.
in New York? Are you a football fan?
I'm not. I'm a
Just a
big
hockey
hockey fan, but not
Buffalo Sabres?
not really. Not really. Buffalo Sabres. They're my team.
I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. My dad's a Buffalo Sabres fan.
Oh, okay.
I was just trying to get something in common.
Okay, that's awesome. Well, I was a Bills fan. I paid attention when I was a kid a little bit, but then they lost 4 Super Bowls in a row, and I was like 8, and I was like, wait, I'm 8 years old. I could pick any sport to pay attention to, and this is the one that I'm picking? No, I'm still new here. And then I picked hockey.
I love getting abused because I swear to God, at least every week someone has to bring up the Bills lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. And I'm like, come on, can you you don't think I hear that enough? And I love pain.
Did you watch the 30 for 30?
Pardon me?
Did you watch the 30 for 30 episode about it?
Oh,
The 4 Falls of Buffalo thing?
Yep.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I know. I even got Scott Norwood's signature, and he signed it wide right.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
He signed it wide right, yeah.
That's awesome.
I'll send it to the
Yeah,
publicist.
he was like
I'll tag you guys on
crying
Facebook.
Yeah,
Or Instagram.
yeah, I would love to see that.
All right, I will. I'll tag you.
I would love to see that.
All right, and my last question is, give us some insight to the new album. I've heard the new album. I love it. There's a couple songs I like, but I would say there's probably 2 songs I like, and the rest of the songs I love. It's
Great.
I was in awe, and I was, when I'm listening to it, I was at work and I'm texting my wife because me and my wife love you, and I'm like, it's really good. It is really good. She goes, don't bullshit me. Don't just say that. I go, I swear to God, it's really good. And tell us a little bit about it, and why should people, if they've never heard of you before, why should they give you a shot?
I mean, I think the new record is like a really good entry point into the band, because I think the things before, there's a lot of, things were a little more all over before. Like one song was very electronic, then another song was very rock, and which was cool because there were there was something for everybody on How Do You Feel Now, and on Content, the things. I feel like every song on the record has all of those elements simultaneously. It's a lot more cohesive, and I think the record is written from kind of an interesting perspective. Everyone is driven by something and has a goal in life, and a lot of people don't achieve them. And the past few years of my life have been really crazy, and I've kind of done a lot of the things that I set out to do. So it's kind of musings on that, I guess, and another appropriate title for the record would have been okay, now what? So it's kind of, I guess, thoughts from a person who, clearly I have not accomplished everything in life, but one of the things that's been a driving force since I was 15, still relatively early in life, I'm okay, well, I did that, so now what am I supposed to do with my time? So, it's introspective, and there's also the title is, there's debate about whether it's content, the noun, or content, the adjective. And that's something that I want people to think about too, because at this point in time, there's really no difference between, we spent a lot of time and money making this big major label record, and a kid who goes in the Apple store, makes a song in GarageBand in 5 minutes, and then, puts it on Spotify or Apple Music. You can do that, and that record will sit exactly next to the record that I made. And there's so much music out. It's constantly available to everybody. And I want people to think about the things that actually mean something to people and the things that are just filling the void. So that's an important distinction.
I'm really grateful and appreciative for your time. And there's not...
Thank you. Thanks for talking to me.
Not every day do I get to interview somebody that I am excited to really interview, and today is that day. So appreciate you being
thank you.
honest and
I appreciate it.
And I wish you nothing but success, and I want nothing but. I hope in 3 years you're opening. You're doing Super Bowl halftime.
That would be awesome. Well, we're playing. Tell your dad we're playing the Sabres home opener this year.
Oh, you are, dude. You are.
Yeah, they asked us. Yeah, don't print that. Don't print that. It's not announced yet. But dude, I was freaking out. Like, we've done some cool stuff. That was the thing where I was like, oh my god, I can't believe it. And our manager was like, well, we got to see what their budget is. I'm like, I don't care. I just want to show up. If they'll give me a ticket.
Yeah, just give me a jersey and a ticket. We're good.
Exactly.
Because that's the equivalent if like I mean, in my life it would be the equivalent if the Buffalo Bills asked me to do play-by-play for for a quarter. I would cry.
Yeah.
Best thing I've ever done. Well, congratulations, brother.
It'd be awesome. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it, and thank you again for talking to me.
No problem. Have a good one.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. I know I killed that one. I know it.